1 in 100 chance.
All righty, gentlemen, we are live.
Cue awkward intro because nobody ever knows what to say when they go live. It's just, yeah, we're live.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so happy we have Ben on the reviewers table so he can do the "What's going on, guys?" Like it just makes life so much easier for all of us.
Right.
Ben on the reviewers table so he can do the "What's going on?"
Oops, sorry.
I'm like, I thought I muted mine.
Yeah, I was. Sorry about that. Okay.
Well, hey, what's up, Tyson? How you doing, buddy? Tonight we're gonna be talking about soundtracks, and we'll do the other thing at the end. So hopefully more people will be in here when we talk about that. Does that sound good?
Oh, whatever, yeah, man. It's good with you. Good
All
with you.
right. So, like I said, tonight we're talking soundtracks, and each guy has his own list. And Barbados Joe isn't here because he moved to Dutch, Pennsylvania, and
Joe ain't got no internet.
Yeah, I don't even know if Joe has electricity. So, so he's gonna skip out on this one, and hopefully he'll have everything straightened out for 2 weeks from now. But like I said, tonight we're going to be talking about soundtracks. And first, I'll go with why I love a good soundtrack in a movie, and then we'll go to Joe, and then we'll go down to Walt. So one reason, what's up, bearded accountant? One reason I like soundtracks is music is a huge part of my life. I mean, it brings back memories. I've been involved in bands and choir my whole life. So, music literally is a soundtrack for my life. I can hear a certain song and it takes me right back to third grade or whatever. And being 53, third grade was a long time ago. But so when I get a movie that's got some of these songs that bring back memories, or it ties a movie to me and makes the movie feel a little more personable. So that's why I like a good soundtrack. Also, another reason, sometimes I'll discover bands I've never heard of, or I'll hear a cover version of a song and I like the original, but the cover's really cool. So then it helps me discover new artists to listen to.
Yeah.
So for me, that's why I love a good movie soundtrack. Joe.
I just love them because of what they do for the movie themselves. Take, for example, like The Godfather. And I say that because I've watched it about 18 times in the last week. But take, for example, The Godfather. A lot of the soundtrack to that movie kind of laid out what was about to go down in the movie. You could judge what was coming. And the one biggest one for me, even though it's not one that gets a lot of attention, is horror movies. They write their own original scores a lot of the times. And that soundtrack, that music you hear playing kind of makes you build. You get that feeling. You get the hair on the back of your neck and you're like, what, where is he? Whose head's he going to cut off? Let's do it. So, I mean, I just love it. But then as I got older too, you start, movies showed me some areas of music that I never would have looked at before. But because of a movie and a song I heard in a movie, it made me go look for that song. And then all of a sudden I'm going down the rabbit hole and I'm learning about a whole new genre I never would have heard of before. So soundtracks can be amazing, man. And I think we got a couple cool ones tonight.
Yep.
Yeah. Soundtracks, I think, are what kind of brings the energy to an upcoming scene, like Joe said, and also I can hear a song and brings me back to that movie, like what you said, Eric. It sets the tone. It really makes up what the movie is about, or the scene is about, and it gives the movie depth, in my opinion. Yep.
Short, simple, easy.
Yep.
Walt's got this stuff unpacked, man. You talk too much.
Well, I guess I'll get going then. I want to start off with a couple honorable mentions. Um,
Yes.
you know, I mean, Kenny Loggins, this was kind of the first thing that he did after Loggins and Messina and really launched his solo career.
Sorry, I can hear the song in my head.
Yep.
I'm all right. Yeah, I can hear it all in my head right now.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you know, and then Top Gun. I mean, yeah. So, and then another soundtrack, and I've talked about this soundtrack already, which is why it's not on my list and it's honorable mention tonight.
Oh, brother, where art thou? Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it brought a whole genre of music back into the spotlight.
See?
You know, and now you've got Mumford and Sons and all these other bands that, you know, got inspired by bluegrass. Well, where did they discover bluegrass? Oh, brother. So, and that's why I'm going to start with one that was very influential. And I would have done screenshots and stuff, but this is the first time I've done a live with other people on. So I don't know how to do the whole show the computer screen thing. Rookie. But the movie is Judgment Night. It came out in the early 90s. And if you've never heard of it, it has Dennis Leary playing the bad guy. And it's got, just a second. I had this all on my brain, and then the beauty of brain injuries. But the soundtrack was really instrumental in the creation of rap and heavy metal working together. You know, you did have like you had the thing with Public Enemy and Anthrax, but it still wasn't really mainstream yet. And this wasn't mainstream, but it inspired a lot of bands. So Emilio Estevez, Cuba Gooding Jr., Stephen Dorff, Jeremy Piven, and that's about the big names in it. And it basically, these guys are going to a big boxing match fight, whatever. And so they rent this kick-ass RV, and well, traffic's backed up and they don't want to miss any of the fights. So they take a wrong turn, witness a murder, bad guy after the good guys, yada, yada, yada. But the soundtrack, I mean, the movie's decent, but the soundtrack, man, I'm going to go through it just because these artists that are paired together are just amazing. So you got the song Just Another Victim with House of Pain and Helmet. You got Fallen with De La Soul and Teenage Fan Club. You've got Me, Myself, and My Microphone with Run DMC and Living Color. Judgment Night with Onyx and Biohazard. Disorder with Ice-T and Slayer. And this was before, this is kind of what inspired Ice-T to do Body Count. He had so much fun working with these guys. Another Body Murdered by Booyah Tribe. And I can't even read my writing. All right. Love You, Mary Jane, Cypress Hill and Sonic Youth. Freak Mama, Sir Mix-a-Lot and Mudhoney. And if you've never heard of Mudhoney, check them out. They were the precursors to Pearl Jam and Soundgarden and all those guys. Missing Link with Del the Funky and Dinosaur Jr. Come and Die, Therapy and Fatal, Real Thing, Cypress Hill, and Pearl Jam. I mean, I've listened to that soundtrack or tracks from that soundtrack more than any other soundtrack I've ever owned. But, you know, partially because it came out in 93, 94, just a second. 93, you know, and I grew up listening to rock and then got into heavy metal in junior high, and then that's when you know, so hearing all these different bands collaborate together doing hard rock in hip hop. I mean, Limp Bizkit, thank Judgment Night for your career.
Very cool. Very cool.
I see it. And Mudhoney is awesome. I agree. Big influence on Nirvana as well.
Yep. On the whole Seattle scene. Them and Dinosaur Jr., Limit Heads, all those sub pop artists. And in my next one, we'll get into some of that too, maybe. So go ahead, Joe.
Oh, I'm up? Okay. Which one am I going to do first? I don't know. All right, you know what? We'll get the obvious one out of the way first. So, I don't mean to be like the obvious guy in the room, right? But if you listen to my stories or anything I post on Instagram, really, I'm probably the biggest Eminem fan walking the earth, really, right? So my first soundtrack being 8 Mile shouldn't shock too many people out there, right? I don't think so. So 8 Mile, the semi-autobiographical movie about Eminem's life. Again, they say semi-autobiographical because obviously some things were changed to look better on screen and to just kind of make it a little bit different. But this is not like, so they did 2 of these, right? You had the 8 Mile and then you had the music from 8 Mile. The music from 8 Mile was, to me at the time, what I thought of when I thought of a soundtrack, because that was the actual music you heard playing through most of the movie. Those were the songs you heard playing in the background, things like that. The actual 8 Mile soundtrack, Eminem comes up with the idea of, well, why are we going to make a soundtrack and just put other people's stuff on it? Let's make an original album, basically. Let's cut a whole album, get a bunch of people to jump on it that wouldn't be on records with us, and let's go nuts here. Let's have some fun. And what happens is it winds up selling 700,000 copies in its first week. And it winds up selling another 500,000 the next week. It goes quadruple platinum, which, I guess for M, that's like normal, I guess, right? I guess that's just his life at this point.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's the only thing that Eminem ever wins a Grammy for. He winds up winning a Grammy for Lose Yourself as the best from a motion picture, single from a motion picture or whatever it is, right? It's the only time he ever gets one of those throughout his career, really. He never gets the best album. He got best rap album a couple times, I think. But the best album award that he has always wanted to get his hands on has eluded him forever, right? Lose Yourself is arguably the biggest track of Eminem's career. It's hard to even argue that fact, honestly, because I believe, even though M was a very much a crossover artist from the day he came in the door, because he was different and he bridged over to many audiences, that Lose Yourself was it was a song that hit everybody. It was about having that moment in life and trying to make something out of it, But the soundtrack itself, man, if you listen to the lineup on this soundtrack, the guys that are on the album, hold on here we go. All right, so check this out. You have Eminem, and then you got his boy Obi Trice, right? But then you got 50 Cent, you got Jay-Z, Freeway, you've got Exhibit, you've got Macy Gray, Nas, you've got Rakim, you know what I mean? Like, you got Gangstar. Like, M really went out to try and get guys that he respected on the album. And again, what winds up happening here is he doesn't just put out one of the best soundtracks of the year. He winds up putting up one of the best hip-hop albums of the year, period. And it's the top-selling album for a motion picture of the year. So in true Eminem fashion, while he's trying to make a hit movie, which 8 Mile did, it did fine. Everybody loved the movie. Who doesn't like the last battle scene where Eminem spends 20 minutes dissing himself so that the guy can't respond? It's just great, right? But trying to make a hit movie, he winds up making an album that in a lot of ways overshadowed the movie because of its performance. Everybody looked at the album at the end, and it's such a masterpiece, man. And then even if you go the other road and you get the music by 8 Mile, the music from 8 Mile, you're talking about, Shook Ones by Mobb Deep, Juicy by Biggie, Tupac, all these artists that everyone knows. So both of these soundtracks, if you're a hip hop fan, are just absolute necessaries in your collection. They're absolutely fantastic. And one of the most underrated songs on the whole thing is Rabbit Run. It's literally 4 minutes of Eminem showing the world, because at this time, M was known more as the shock rapper. He said things, he did things that were a little different. This is 4 minutes of Eminem just spitting bars and showing everybody, hey, this is who I am. I do the other thing because you guys buy it, basically. But this is who I am. So absolutely love the movie, love the album. I don't know. Do I need to tell everybody I'm an Eminem fan again? Like, do we have to go through this every time? I think they got it by now, right?
Yeah. I think you're right on, man. D12 was after, I believe. Was that right, Joe?
No. So what happens is you get the Slim Shady LP. Well, you got Infinite way before that, but you get the Slim Shady LP as his first major release. Then you get the Marshall Mathers LP.
Okay.
And then right after that, you got the first D12 album ever, which is Purple Pills.
Right.
Then we got 8 Mile, because in 8 Mile, certain individuals from D12 are represented in the movie, like Proof by Mekhi Phifer, Bizarre by, I can't remember his name right now, the big dude. I can't remember his name at the moment, though. And even, little known fact, Royce the 5'9" was somewhat represented in that film as well by his brother, the smaller guy, who was always like, we're doing it to ourselves, respect yourselves. And that's kind of like the guy Royce is. So he represented the 3 biggest friends he had in his life at that point in the movie.
Right.
So yes, but this is right when he found 50 Cent. You know what I mean? Like, this is when you could say he was like on top of the world in that moment. He was the king of everything at that time. Like, it was unstoppable. And he's still the best rapper alive. I don't give a damn what anybody says. You don't like it? Fight me.
He's up there.
One thing I loved about the movie, and I used to own it, and I let somebody borrow it and I never made it home. But on the extras, when they were having the little rap battles while they were doing production stuff, M was just battling people from the crowd, bringing them up from the crowd. They were extras, and he's like, yeah, come on, let's show the mic, and I thought that was super cool. Now that he's in recovery, I love him even more.
Yeah, and he also, so the funniest part about that whole thing you're talking about, Eric, is actually he brought those guys up because they were Detroit rappers, right? They're all Detroit rappers, and he wanted to get them somewhere, even if it was in the extras. Fine, get your face out there a little bit. Let's get your name out there a little bit, right? But the first guy he brought up, now the plan was they were going to actually kick bars, and then M was going to just like motion like he was rapping, and then they were going to lay M's words over it later, right? And the first guy goes hard at M, right? After M has just laid nothing. The second guy starts off doing the same thing, but now M grabs the mic, he starts to fake it, and then he gets mad because he's like, no, wait a minute, I'm done with this. And he starts hitting the mic and telling them, turn my mic on. He's like, can you hear me now, bitch? And then he starts going at the guys like, no, you're not going to take free shots at me here. That's not what this is. So
you out, buddy.
Like, you remember, guy was a runner-up at the Rap Olympics. Just saying.
Oh no, that last one where he just talks about himself and disses himself. I mean, I'll never forget that. That is a fantastic scene.
Listen, Eminem is an absolute icon in hip hop. I don't care what anybody says. Lyrically, the man does things. There's times I have to re-listen to what he says to understand what he's saying, because his wordplay is crazy. You just have to really like single it out and listen to it. And the 8 Mile soundtrack is just another example of him going, I know everybody does it this way, but I'm going to take it a little bit further. And again, just staying on that same flow, he did the same thing when he was in charge of the Southpaw soundtrack, basically.
Mm-hmm.
He took it another level, and the movie became known more for the soundtrack. It's just what he does.
Yep.
But that's about it, Walt. You're up, brother.
Okay, so for my first one, I decided to do a movie that I really, really enjoyed in my kind of college kind of area. That was Donnie Darko. So Donnie Darko premises this young kid in high school. He has these dreams, hallucinates, has a near-death experience. It's kind of got a very like blue tone to it. I guess that makes sense. And the Michael Andrews is the guy who kind of worked on everything. He made all the music except for two: Tears for Fears, Head Over Heels, and Echo and the Bunnyman, The Killing Moon. Other than that, he did everything. And he even did a song called Mad World, which is a remix. But just the whole entire movie, as you're going through and you're seeing this kid deal with the stress of having a near-death experience, and you know, all these different hallucinations are happening. It just, this type of music just adds to the eeriness and helps draw you in. So while you're watching this movie, you're not just watching it, but you're experiencing it with him. You know, he's hallucinating and seeing some horrible stuff, you know. And the crazy part about it is, as they're doing this, they're tying in these little coincidences and time travel, which is also a really cool part of it. If you have not seen Donnie Darko, I highly recommend you see it. Make sure you watch it with an open mind and understand that, it is not a regular, it's, you have to have kind of an open mind to kind of watch it, kind of like Requiem for a Dream or something like that. You can't be in a non-receptive mood. But I love this movie. It's one of my favorites growing up, and yeah, that's it.
I remember seeing that in the theaters, and talk about, I mean, I know he had done stuff before that, but an introduction to Jake Gyllenhaal as an actor.
Yep.
Man. And like I say, I know he did stuff before that in TV or whatnot, but man, for your first lead role to have such a cult classic.
Yep.
And if I could afford it, I would have a bunny costume. I'll just leave it at that. If you've never
seen it, for sure.
I would love to have a bunny costume. So you got anything, Joe?
No, not really. I don't have much on this one. Honestly, not that big of a fan of the movie. So just got nothing on this one, really.
Makes sense. I mean, that's not your deal.
It's not for
everybody's different, brother. Everybody's different. Yeah. I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm just saying, I
understand. But at that time, and I still am a very big into time travel and stuff like that. So, that kind of checked off a few different boxes of my interest. So it was something that was really interesing.
Yeah, and the time travel. Jean-Claude Van Damme ruined time travel movies for me with Time Cop.
There was Patrick Swayze in it, Jake Gyllenhaal, Maggie Gyllenhaal, Drew Barrymore. So the cast is pretty decent too. Patrick Swayze played a really good role as well.
Yeah. Yep.
So Eric,
what
would be your second one, sir?
Yep, my second movie came out, and I made sure to pull up everything. I'm gonna be prepared for this one. Singles came out in 1992, and it's a group of 20-something friends search for love and success in grunge era Seattle. So some of the big names that starred in it: Bridget Fonda, Kira Sedgwick, Matt Dillon, Bill Pullman, James LaGrosse, Eric Stoltz, and written and directed by Cameron Crowe, who all of his movies have great soundtracks. I mean, Almost Famous. I can't think of all the other ones, but and so I'm going to go through some of the songs and the bands that wrote them or performed them. Wood by Alice in Chains. And another reason this movie is it's in my tops, and the soundtrack is, I was in my early 20s when the whole grunge movement hit. And so, all these bands, I got to see most of them in concert. And, I just, with my love of music, especially when it's music that I owned before I saw the movie, So we got Wood by Alice in Chains, Breathe by Pearl Jam, Seasons by Chris Cornell. And if you don't know who Chris Cornell is, he was the lead singer for Soundgarden. And go ahead and spank yourself for not knowing that. Then you've got Dyslexic Heart by Paul Westerberg, Battle of Evermore by the Lovemongers, Crown of Thorns by Mother Love Bone, and a little more education for people if you don't know who Mother Love Bone is. Basically, that was Pearl Jam before Eddie Vedder joined, pretty much. Birth Ritual by Soundgarden, State of Love and Trust, Pearl Jam, Overblown by Mudhoney, May This Be Love, Jimi Hendrix, because, Hendrix was born and raised in Seattle, and you can't do something in Seattle and not have Jimi Hendrix associated with it. And on a side note, the Experience Music Project, which is basically better than the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, has the largest Jimi Hendrix exhibit there is in the world, because his family, they still technically own everything, but the co-founder of Microsoft, and I'm brain farting on his name right now, Bill Gates' partner, he while he was alive, he owns the Seahawks and Mariners, and he was a failed musician. He was a guitarist. So he went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and was just completely disappointed. And he's like, well, I'm going to build something better. And so all these, the guitar that Jimi Hendrix lit on fire in London, the remnants of that are in the display, where he had written down some lyrics on a cocktail napkin are on display, and it's just really, really cool. Nearly Lost You, Screaming Trees, Drowned, Smashing Pumpkins. Now, Smashing Pumpkins, I was kind of surprised that they were on the soundtrack because they were more the Frisco area. But yeah, really enjoyed the movie. I wouldn't go as far to call it like a rom-com, even though relationships were, looking for love was a big part of the movie. But great movie if you haven't seen it. Really enjoyed it, especially, if you like that whole Seattle era music. Definitely a must-see. Joe? I'm guessing neither of you have seen it.
Huh?
I've not, but I want to see that now that I know that Chris Cornell was in it, and they got some great fans. I'm
going to say no, but looks like Nicole's going to make me see it because she seems like she likes it a lot.
I'm a huge Soundgarden fan, so
odds are she's going to ask me to watch it with her or something, since I don't know what it is. She's going to be like, "This is what he was talking about."
Thank you.
Yeah, my second. Go ahead, Eric. I'm sorry.
I said you can thank me later. Music.
All right. My second one is something that might be maybe not as known about me, is something that happened in 2008. There was a movie released called Cadillac Records, and it was based off of Ches Records, or Cadillac Records as it was known by the guys actually part of the label back then. And in 2008, I watched this movie for the first time, and this is one of those movies I'm talking about. It brought me into the blues world. It brought me into those artists, and I started doing all my research and listening to everybody I could. And I don't care what anybody says, Muddy Waters is the greatest blues performer of all time. Period. I don't want to hear it. All right? I don't want to hear about B.B. King. I don't want to hear it. Nothing. Muddy Waters. All right? But So they make the movie, right? You've got Adrian Brody, you've got Jeffrey Wright, Columbus Short, Beyonce. I know I'm missing some guys. Hold on. What's his name? Mos Def. And why can't I find the other guy's name? Where is he? I know he's in here somewhere. Nope, I can't find it. Hold on. Where is he? I know he's here. Okay, here we go. Iman Walker, which if you were a fan of Oz, that was Saeed in Oz. Okay? And it was about the building of this record company and how the guy who started it, Ches, right? That was his name, played by Adrian Brody, basically committed arson, torched his own bar for the insurance money to start a label with a guy he was letting play in his bar and he believed in. He thought Muddy Waters was going to be something and he was going to bank on Muddy. And they started touring and everything else. And the thing you got to remember is back at this time, most colored people, even in the South, no matter whether slavery was over or not, they still didn't have a lot. They're sharecroppers. They're working on plantations still. They're just getting paid for it now. That's the only difference. They're living in shacks, and that's where Muddy was living. And he walked off one day and came to the city. He's gonna try and make it. So when him and Ches start to make it, he just starts throwing keys at him, like, here, this is your car now. Here, you can have a new Cadillac. Here, you can. But he never really pays Muddy. He's just always giving him keys or giving him jewelry to give to the girls he likes. And he's never really paying out the money he's really earned. And then whenever Muddy says, hey, I got any royalties coming for my last hit? He's like, no, Mud, I gave you that. How do you figure? Cadillacs ain't free, Mud. So you find out that even though the story was that him and Ches were very good friends, it was also a very give and not take relationship, or take and not give. Ches was getting a lot from it, while Muddy actually winds up damn near broke at the end of this whole thing, even though he made a lot of the hits for them. But the soundtrack, man, is just phenomenal. I mean, it is literally a tour through a different time and place. You know what I mean? You've got I'm a Man, At Last, No Particular Place to Go, because you had Mos Def playing, oh my God, why am I losing his name? Chuck Berry. All right. So you got that one. You got Hoochie Coochie Man, which if you don't know what that song is, go ahead, take your shoe off and slap yourself in the face with it. Okay? Because you deserve it. You deserve it. I'm just saying. All right. Once in a Lifetime, Let's Take a Walk, 6 O'Clock Blues, Nadine. Just the soundtrack is amazing, right? And they've even got a few like Bridging the Gap with Nas, where they take the riff from Hoochie Coochie Man with Nas and Q-Tip rapping over it and everything else, which is cool. But to me, what this movie really did for me that I loved and the soundtrack is it opened up that blues world, man. I started reading about Little Walter. I started reading about Muddy Waters. I started reading about the Howlin' Wolf. I started reading about all these guys, looking into their music, and listen, everything, all the modern errors of today can be traced back to the blues world. I promise you. Your modern rock and roll, hip hop, rap, all of it can be traced back to the blues world. And almost every one of them has borrowed from Muddy Waters at one point or another. I'm just saying. I don't want to fight with anybody on this. But Muddy Waters is the god of the blues world. That's that. And what the bigger thing here, though, is this, and this is upsetting maybe, but it sells 165,000 copies in total, right? And it sits at number 1 on the blues charts for 48 weeks because blues music is basically, it's like a niche now, it's not a big market anymore. So it sits there for 48 weeks, even when it's not selling any real new units. And it was nominated for an award for the best ensemble album made for soundtrack. Didn't get it, but still, just a great, great soundtrack. If you go and get it, grab the deluxe edition because it's worth it. It comes with a second disc. that has another 10 to 15 songs on it. Some by the original artist, some by the guys who played them. That's the other thing to remember about this too, is that you found out on this soundtrack that Jeffrey Wright can shred because it's him singing. You found out that Iman Walker could sing because it's him singing. This is not Howlin' Wolf. They re-recorded all this. This is Mos Def playing Chuck Berry. You know what I mean? And all these guys had such amazing talents, maybe we never would have known about. So absolutely fantastic soundtrack. If you haven't had a chance to, check it out. Cadillac Records. Great movie, too.
You got
You're up, Walt.
Walt?
I love blues. I've not seen this one, but I definitely want to see it. I know blues was a big influence, and it was all kind of cyclical between jazz, where I'm from, and just blues and rockabilly, and it all kind of stems off of each other. And blues was a big part of that. So Joe's absolutely right. And this is something I got to see. Definitely, I'm putting this on my list.
Dude, oh my God. So it's a good movie, great soundtrack. Jeffrey Wright's performance is amazing. Columbus Short is great. You know what I mean? Just even Beyonce delivers a killer performance as hold on, I can't remember who she was playing. Her name's right on the tip of my tongue, but I cannot remember.
No.
Huh?
No, I'm thinking about a Motown act.
No, she played Etta James. Etta James, who, if you didn't know, was a huge star back then. She was crossing over in the blues world, but she had a horrible drug problem that really, even when she started making a ton of money, she gave it all away to drugs. So, but Beyonce delivers an amazing performance, just absolutely great movie and a phenomenal soundtrack, man. Stupid good.
I need to rewatch it because it's been a few years since I've seen it. And a movie that did kind of the same thing for me was Blues Brothers with real rhythm and blues, not Motown R&B. R&B and modern R&B is not rhythm and blues, which is what R&B is supposed to stand for. And it was because of that, love those songs. And it's like, okay, I started doing my history on Stax Records and Wilson Pickett, and and then you had The Commitments. That movie came out in the 90s about all these British kids wanting to play R&B, and that soundtrack it had some great songs on it, but they weren't the originals, which is why that wasn't on. And Blues Brothers, to be completely honest, I just spaced on how much I loved the soundtrack, but also those songs on the soundtrack were all performed by that all-star band that they put together.
Also, just a little side thing here. If you're ever getting ready to go out and you want to feel like you're the shit, all right, just throw on I'm a Man and then Hoochie Coochie Man by Muddy Waters and just kind of look at yourself a little bit in the mirror. You'll be good. You're good. You're good. You're going to walk out the door thinking you're the greatest man that's ever lived. It'll probably last all of 5 minutes, but still, it's a nice boost to the system.
The first 5 minutes of the date is a very important 5 minutes.
Yeah, it is. That is true.
Well, get that second date if those first 5 minutes aren't that good.
First impressions, right?
Yep. Go ahead, Walt.
All right. For me, I went ahead, and this one's more of a lighter one. And it's nothing original score. This is just a compilation of songs. So it is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 and 2, because they use the same one. Picture you're a kid. It's the premise of Guardians of the Galaxy is this kid. He gets abducted by aliens, and he's got a cassette tape. So you're a kid back in the 1980s. You're just being able to start recording off of the radio and stuff. So he starts recording these songs that he loves. Hooked on a Feeling by Blue Suede and Spirit in the Sky by Norman Greenbaum. Ain't No Mountain High Enough, Marvin Gaye. And so when he gets abducted, he takes this tape with him that has all these wonderful songs. Cherry Bomb, I Want You Back, Fooled Around and Fell in Love. just really, really great songs. So when you come back to, so as he gets abducted, he comes back, and then now you see him as an adult, and he's doing his different things. He's stealing junk and stuff like that in space and whatnot. And he still has this cassette player. And as the movie goes on, he's listening to his cassette player, 20 years later. I don't know how he got that to work. I mean, you figured the thing would have ran out of batteries, but it didn't. Some space stuff, I guess. But
Walkmans last forever.
I know, right? Yeah. But I mean,
first of all, Walt, how old are you?
Maybe I'm born in 83. I'm 37.
So then you should know better than anybody. It was a damn Walkman, okay?
But come on, like 15 years? Come on. Yeah, there's no way.
It's a damn Walkman. My Walkman probably still works.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, the point of the story is that they use this moment of him going back to his childhood before he got abducted. The songs that he spent his life listening to, going through this trauma of being abducted and living in a place where no other humans are around. And they pepper in these songs, and it's just very out of character. It's like you wouldn't, this guy's fighting, stuff in space, and he's listening to, let's see, like Escape from Rupert Holmes, things like that.
Margarita song.
Yeah. Or Pina Colada.
Or Pina Colada, yeah.
Yeah. So it's just a really cool soundtrack. I've put it on a few times just when I'm like cleaning up my house or whatever, and just kind of listen to some cool music. And it's an interesting mix. And it's really a cool movie. So you should probably check it out. That's it.
Yes, sir. That's it. I love that one. And my stepmom loves it because it's all 80s stuff. You know what I mean? It's just flooded with great stuff. And you're right. It's not like an original score or anything, but that don't matter, dude. This soundtrack is badass. And anybody who gets it 9 times out of 10, you're going to be letting it rock. And, you might hide every now and then as like somebody comes in and you're singing to one of the girly songs, but it's okay. It's fine. Yeah. Don't worry about it. We all do it. It's fine.
Right.
Well, that's all those things. He got abducted at whatever age he was, and I was probably about the same age at that time. Go ahead, Joe.
Can we talk about the fact that Walt's biggest issue with the movie wasn't that it was about a kid that got abducted by aliens and was now traveling space, looting things? It was about the fact that the Walkman still worked. That was Walt's biggest issue with the movie. It wasn't the alien abductions or the fact that he was now living as some friggin' garage hunter or dumpster diver in space. No. Right. It was the Walkman still working. Yeah. That was Walt's issue here.
The Duracells were powering through.
Yeah. Well, it's got one of my all-time favorite songs. Hooked on a Feeling, Blue Suede. Also in a movie that this guy knows a little bit about, Reservoir Dogs. Same soundtrack.
Yep.
And that song, actually, I used to listen to a show when I used to get off work at 3:30 in the afternoon, rush hour traffic. What in no traffic would take me 5 minutes would take me 35 minutes. So I listened to a lot of radio. And he used to have this segment called Make It Stop, and he played a song that he hated. And then it played until somebody that called in could name the song and the artist. And he was giving away a wireless keyboard, mouse, and a flatbed scanner. Like I said, this was back in 2006, 2007. And every song I freaking knew. I don't know why, but I knew him. And so finally I plugged his number into my cell phone, big old Nokia at the time, and had it set up as my number one speed dial. And he played Hooked on a Feeling by Blue Suede. And it won me, but
awesome.
But yeah, I mean, Brian mentions Purple Rain. That was that's another honorable mention. Basically, they made a movie around his album.
Right.
But
Rock of Ages should probably get a nod to.
what?
Rock of Ages.
Yeah.
Or what was that? Was that this other movie with Tom Cruise?
Yep. Where
Like, yeah, the movie sucked, but the soundtrack's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. It started out. It's not the first time Tom Cruise has ruined a movie. Jack Reacher.
Everything he's in, I hate that short little friggin' man.
Yeah, how he got cast as Jack Reacher. I've read the whole series of books. Jack Reacher in the books is 6'5", 275.
Tom Cruise is 4'2", 30 pounds of shit. I act every role the same bag.
But yeah, getting back to Guardians of the Galaxy, I grew up with all those songs. Even if it wasn't a genre of music I liked, it was getting played on the radio around the house when we were cleaning the house. Just great memories, all those songs and how they incorporated it into the movie. Genius.
Everybody's going to run around now saying Joe hates Tom Cruise.
Randy Newman from Toy Story is definitely a big one. I think people associate that with Toy Story. You Got a Friend in Me and stuff. But yeah, I thought it was kind of an obvious choice, so I went with something a little bit different.
Well, I would say 95% of Randy Newman's income is from soundtracks, because what was his big hit besides that? Short People.
Yeah, that's right.
The Short Person, when that came out, not a big fan.
Right. Absolutely.
All righty, I'm going to go with my third. And one reason...
The last one. I think you're the only one with three.
Yeah, because I'm the host.
Yep.
This, even though I didn't grow up at the same time period of the music in this, all this music was a big part of my high school parties and whatnot. And the movie is Dazed and Confused. And another reason that this movie is one of my all-time favorites is that was very similar to where I grew up. In junior high school, our town had 55, 60,000 people in it. And yeah, if somebody's parents were out of town and they weren't having a party, you would go to the Overland Trail Arcade and hang out until you found out where a party was going to be. And normally in that situation, somebody had gone out to an oil rig, scouted it out, because the oil rigs were all lit up, just like the Moon Tower. Take a few kegs out there, and have a good time. But the movie coming in, the very first song, Slow Ride, Fog Hat, that just kind of sets the tone in every scene. Even though on the official soundtrack, there's only like 12 or 13 songs, so many more songs were used that it could have been a double album. But Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo, Rick Derringer, School's Out, Alice Cooper, Jim Dandy, Black Oak, Arkansas, Tush, ZZ Top. And being that the film was taking place in Texas and actually filmed around Austin, how they didn't have a Stevie Ray Vaughan song is just sad. Love Hurts by Nazareth, Stranglehold, Ted Nugent, Cherry Bomb, also in Guardians of the Galaxy, The Runaways, Fox on the Run by Sweet, Tuesday's Gone by Leonard Skinner, Highway Star, Deep Purple, Rock and Roll All Night, Kiss, Paranoid, Black Sabbath. And I just rewatched this, I'd say 2 weeks ago. And man, such a good movie. Yep. Honorable mention for Rocky Horror. Yep. And the rock star, I'm sure he's talking about the one with Mark Wahlberg, where him and Jennifer Aniston, good movie. I've watched that a couple times.
I'm in trouble. Tom Cruise showed up. I don't like you, you short little. What are you gonna do? You gonna come over and kick me in the knee? Oh boy, look out! I'm scared.
Oh man, that's
And yes, I agree. All right.
yeah. Heard about parties at the Moon Tower.
Yeah, I mean, anybody that does a Matthew McConaughey impersonation, it's either that or thing I like about high school girls. I get older, they stay the same age.
Yep.
But
Robert Lincoln.
yeah, I mean, great movie.
Better be Joe.
Better me? I don't need to better you. Just because you fooled Hollywood into believing you know what the hell you're doing on a movie set doesn't mean you did anything special, okay? What have you done for us? You ruined Katie Holmes. You ruined Jack Reacher. You ruined multiple other films that I don't care to get into. All right? You suck.
And not Katy Perry, Katie Holmes.
That's what I said, Katie Holmes.
You said
Didn't
Katy
I?
Perry.
Did I say Katy Perry?
I think so.
Oh,
I thought I said Katie Holmes.
And just to throw one of my favorite things about Tom Cruise was
Nothing.
his appearance on South Park, where he and John Travolta were hiding in the closet.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Scientology weirdo. God, I hate that man so much.
But yeah,
Top Gun. The girl he was in love with was taller than him.
Well, you know, and whether he actually loves women or not.
You know, what was the other one? The one with him and Nicole Kidman.
Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah. She's like 8 foot tall. He's like 2 foot tall.
Yeah.
He had to stand on his tippy toes.
Yep. And that's why they normally hired shorter actresses to play his love interest. Is so
they couldn't find any.
Platform shoes.
Yeah. Yep, his lips.
Scumbag.
All right, we're gonna roll right on into a new segment that we're gonna be starting out. And it's where we're gonna actually do reviews of a current movie.
We're gonna do like a rapid fire review.
Ooh,
We're gonna like, you know, rather than do like what you see on other channels where it takes them an hour to work through an hour movie where you're like, well, I should have just watched the damn movie at this point. We're gonna give you like a breakdown as quickly as possible, touch on some cool points, and then try not to spoil the film. However, if we feel like we're gonna spoil the film, we will say spoilers. And although we're gonna try our best, I'm gonna warn spoilers on this one. I'm gonna warn it. We're gonna warn it.
Yeah.
All right.
Because somebody hasn't seen this movie yet.
Yeah.
I was
The guy doesn't do his job.
Yeah, his first episode is an actual board member. Just
He doesn't do the homework.
The whole, you know, who's coming on and whatnot. I apologize.
But yeah,
right.
the movie we're going to talk about. Y'all, did you want to do it, Eric? Or you want me to run with it?
Knock it out, Joe.
All right. So the movie we're going to run with this week is one that I've actually talked about probably for the last friggin' year on every live stream under America. Godzilla vs. Kong finally has been out for a couple weeks now. It's on HBO Max for free for the first 30 days that it's available. So if you have HBO Max, you can check it out for free. If not, it is in theaters and everything else. So Kong vs. Godzilla, the MonsterVerse movie we've all been waiting for since the original back in 1970, 75, 76, something like that. This hasn't happened. And they were teasing us with it. They said it was coming. You know, the acting in this movie is way better than any Tom Cruise movie you'll ever see. That's number one. So we finally get it in this one. And the question really was, how? How are they going to put Kong and Godzilla and have them square off? Where is this going to come from? Well, they handled that in a weird way, didn't they, Eric? Like, how'd they get Kong into... So here's one of the spoilers, right? Kong's been captive, apparently, since the first movie.
Since Skull Island.
Yeah, since the end of Skull Island, they've had Kong captive, apparently. He's in some big-ass sphere on Skull Island.
They Truman showed him.
Yeah, they did. They Truman. That's a great way to do it. They Truman showed his ass. Yep. But Kong knows he's being Truman showed. He knows he's being held captive. He actually attacks the sphere at one point. And but apparently he's cool with it because there's a little girl there now, and him and the little girl have a weird relationship. So whatever. The little girl signs, Kong can understand her. Now Godzilla apparently has reverted back to original Godzilla, and he's trampling Tokyo. Nobody saw that one coming, right? Huh?
I said, go Godzilla.
Nobody saw that one coming, right? Godzilla destroys Tokyo. It never happens.
No.
Tokyo make it through a Godzilla film? When does that ever happen? Even when he's the good guy, they just did until he gets destroyed. You know what I mean? So Godzilla seems to be the bad guy. Again, spoiler, reality, he's not. It is the same group from the first one, I believe, that is trying to, they're basically luring Godzilla in and making him attack areas by thinking there's a threat there, that there's another Titan there calling him out, basically. And then Godzilla goes there, goes berserk, and they make it look like Godzilla's the bad guy. So now, unlike the previous two films, our military, everything is against Godzilla. And they decide they're going to bring Kong back to, where are they bringing him to? Alaska?
Yeah.
Antarctica.
Yeah, basically a portal to Inner Earth.
Right. And they're thinking maybe they can find some answers on how to stop Godzilla and how to find Kong's people and all kinds of stuff. But what they don't know is that Kong and Godzilla essentially are arch rivals. Their kind has been fighting since the beginning of time. And as soon as Kong makes his way towards the mainland, it's like Godzilla's got a homing beacon on a Titan. And he's going, oh, no. Who are you bringing my way? And I got to tell you, I'm a huge Godzilla fan, but the first fight, I felt bad for Kong. He was chained down through half of it. It was in water. That's not his turf. That's all Godzilla land. There's 3 fights in this movie between Kong and Godzilla, and none of them disappoint, dude. Not any one of them do they disappoint. They get to the Hollow Earth theory. They even show you some of Kong's backstory. Kong gets a badass axe in the movie. I don't want to ruin it all for Waltimus because he's going to watch it eventually. All right?
Tonight. I'm going to watch tonight.
But the very ending of the movie is the last 10 minutes of the movie is the only part that pissed me off, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the revealing of the third monster in the movie. I won't tell you which one. The way he looked made me very angry. I'm gonna leave it there.
I can see that. They did.
He looked like a reject. I don't even want to go there. I'm not gonna go there. I'm gonna get mad. I'm gonna stop.
To let you calm down, I'll just throw something in real quick. There was a new beast that had never been seen before in a Godzilla or a Kong movie.
You are right.
I'm not going to describe it, but I had to look it up, and they called it a war bat. And
he's actually from the comics.
Oh, okay.
Yes, he is from the Godzilla. Well, from the Kong comics. I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, because I'd never seen that creature in any. I'm like, well, that's not Mothra.
Nope.
And I was burning through my Godzilla knowledge, which I haven't watched a classic Godzilla movie in over 20 years.
Do you have HBO Max?
I do now, thanks to something I know.
They're all on HBO Max. There's like 20 of them.
Well,
dude, I don't know where I should have had HBO Max from the beginning.
Well, I pay for a lot of streaming services, but yeah, I haven't seen any Godzilla movie pre-Matthew Broderick in a
I
long time.
remember that one. I remember.
Yeah, that
Matthew Broderick Nightmare that they
Yeah.
made him look like a big ass iguana,
yeah.
and then they put him in a rock video with Puff Daddy. I was like, oh my god,
Yeah.
stop it, stop ruining Godzilla.
Well, and if you want to go back and check out one of our previous episodes where we talk about biggest movie disappointments, that movie gets covered really well in it. Yeah, it was his, but I had a fairly good reason for hating that movie too. So
There's a lot of reasons to hate that movie.
yeah.
But just like there's a lot of reasons to hate that movie, this Kong and Godzilla, there's a lot of reasons to love. Okay. They leave it open at the end. They have not confirmed or denied whether more MonsterVerse movies are coming. Honestly, with how well Kong versus Godzilla is doing, I can't see this being the last movie.
Yeah.
I just can't. You know what I mean? I don't know where they would go from here, but I'd have a hard time believing this would be the last one. Listen, they built this up through 3 movies. They did a very good job with it.
Mhm.
And I was so worried when the actual movie came. I'm like, God, this is going to be so hit or miss, right? Sink or swim. There's no in between here.
Episode 1
And
all over again.
yep, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, this is going to be all bad, right? Nope. It was all good except for the last 15. And even though the ending of the movie was cool, I just couldn't stand the way the one thing looked. It was driving me nuts. Absolutely drove me nuts. Besides that, really cool. I love the fact that they opened up the Hollow Earth theory and we actually went there. It is a place. There's more monsters down there. They showed them. Like, so there's a lot of things that could come from this movie.
Mhm.
They've laid the groundwork. It's a great film. And even the human acting didn't ruin it, maybe because they didn't put Tom Cruise in the film. You know, so it was still good.
Well,
I'm looking forward to this one. I really don't want to. I hope that they don't do anything to mess it up because I was a big fan of Pacific Rim, but Pacific Rim 2 was a hot pile of garbage.
Garbage. Yeah.
So
garbage.
I'm literally glad that they're treating this one correctly. I'm sorry, Eric. What were you about to say?
I was gonna say this movie, even better than the previous Kong Godzilla, which led up to this, the CGI was on another level to me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Wow. Good point, dude. Really good point.
When they were doing close-ups on Kong's face,
Yeah.
you could see those individual hairs getting caught by the wind. I mean, the CGI in Skull Island was good. The CGI in Godzilla was good. Godzilla King of Monsters was good. The CGI in this one, I know it's only been a couple of years, but man,
Different level.
to me it was, and I'm watching on the exact same TV that I watched the others on. So it's not like I had upgraded and I've got a 49K now. No, I still have my 1080p, you know. So I know that it's not, I know how good they improved their CGI and the storyline. Pretty good storyline. You know, everything had a nice flow to it. There weren't really too many lulls. And, you know, when there wasn't fighting action, you were getting backstory and you were getting this and you were getting that. So, you know, all around, I really enjoyed it. I went in with low expectations because even though I had heard good things, just because it was one of those, you know, Godzilla King of Monsters was okay in my book. That was okay in my book. This, to me, was, you know, I'm like, okay, you know, those were the lead ups to this. Let's see if it pays off. Well, it paid off.
So here was my thinking leading into this. I don't want to go too long here. I know Dave's getting started over there.
Yep.
The Godzilla remake, the original one, was really good. Really, really good. Kong Skull Island was good. I don't think it was as good as the first Godzilla film, but it was good. King of Monsters was okay, but like I felt like they kept going down with every movie. And I'm like, oh man, here we go. And this one could be really bad if they don't get this right. Like, this will be the end of the series. This is it. The Monsterverse will be done. And they learned so much, I think, from King of Monsters, because the biggest complaint people had in Godzilla King of Monsters was, you gave us Godzilla, you gave us Rodan, you gave us Ghidorah, you gave us Mothra, and they got about 20 minutes of on-screen fighting, and the rest of it was watching humans run around. That's not what we watched. That's not what we wanted to see. We wanted to see these monsters have it out.
The classic timeline that you get from the original Godzilla movies.
Right. Well, this one...
action, 15% acting.
Yep. This one, they went, okay, we hear you. So it went 10 minutes build up, 20 minutes fighting. 20 minutes build up, 20 minutes fighting. Like, they just chopped the whole movie up to where there was never really too much of a lull, like Eric said. Every time you were sitting here like, oh my God, I'm watching these humans again. Oh, wait, they're back. They're going to fight again. Like, they just kept things rolling very nicely, kept it moving real well. They humanized Kong very well. Like, I get it. Kong was supposed to be the good guy in the film, and they humanized him very well. But Godzilla's still the badass amongst badasses. That's all I'm going to say.
Reptiles don't play, man.
Yeah. All right.
King of the Titans.
So we're going to start wrapping things up, and we're going to start with Joe. What do you got coming up? What do you got going on?
Tomorrow night, the sit down, 9 p.m. on my channel. Jordan, Chad, myself, and Holly from Whiskey and Hardtack will be our special guest. Looking forward to it. Should always be fun. Holly's like one of the beardos herself. Like, she knows how to cut it up like any one of us. Awesome person with great products. So I'm looking forward to that. Tuesday, a new video is dropping. I haven't decided if I'm going to do my review Tuesday or my head shave. I don't know. We'll see. Thursday, also, I'll have a video dropping. Friday, the reviewers table on my channel. Why am I missing something? What am I missing? I'm not missing anything. That's it. The reviewers table on my channel. And thank you to the 42 companies who have signed up so far to be part of May. You guys are all amazing. Thank you very much. That's about it, guys.
Company, but I'm donating.
You're listed. You're one of the 42.
Yeah, but I'm not a company.
It doesn't matter. 42. All right, fine. 42 contributors. How's that?
All right. What do you got?
Let's see. Thursday, we have another live review. We're doing Beard Mana. That's Thursday at 7 o'clock on The Regard. And then that Friday, we're having a interview with Magic City. Mike, he's going to come on. We're going to chat with him and have a good time. And then
they have the second best show on Fridays. Just saying.
All right,
second best show on Fridays.
The reviewers table is Jay Leno, and we're Conan O'Brien. So we play our role. It's okay. It's okay.
No, listen, I love Walt. Everybody knows that. I love The Regard. I think it's a great show.
Yeah. But we got some great changes coming, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm also venturing out and doing my own thing, but I'll be later. Thank you.
All right, Eric. What do you got to say?
I love Beards on Film, but I've been stretching myself a little thin. So I'm going to be taking a little hiatus, we'll put it that way. I'll be back. How regularly? I'm not sure at this point, because the whole reason I started my YouTube channel and to get my Instagram going is to be able to help people in recovery. So starting next week, every other week, just like Beards on Film, just the alternating weeks on my channel right here, Sober Chef Eric, I'm going to be doing the show of resilience, where it's all going to be about reducing stigma around all types of recovery. Granted, mental health and substance abuse are two biggies with me, but trauma, I've had a lot of trauma in my life, recovering from surgery, dealing with chronic illnesses, raising kids with special needs, or dealing with special needs yourself. There's so many things that you can recover from, and nobody should ever feel bad about saying what they're recovering from. There shouldn't be any shame around it. And hopefully the show is going to at least help somebody realize that, hey, I'm not alone. If they can do it, I can do it. So once again, it's Show of Resilience. And I didn't have time to knock it out today, but tomorrow I'm going to be shooting a tutorial, and it'll be posted by Monday on how to prepare and make a tuna poke power bowl. So
looking forward to that one.
But
Eric, man, when you got an open invitation back here. I mean, I know Joe's not here, and Joe's kind of the one who got the ball rolling on this whole thing, but you're always welcome here. We love you, dude. And anything you need with the new show, if you need help or whatever, say the word. I'm there.
Yeah. And I know Walt's going to help me out, probably as a moderator. And I would love to have you on, be able to talk about NF, and not the artist, but, talk about NF, and,
you let me know when, and let me know the time and place. I'll be there.
Yep. I knew you would. But everybody that hung out this whole time, I greatly appreciate your input. The interaction with everybody attending helps make the show. So everybody that came in and checked us out, awesome. And if for some reason you're not subscribed to him or to the Bearded Regard, and once he gets his own channel, and then on their IGs, Joe has got some great TikToks about wannabe tough guys on TikTok. At least I get a kick out of them, especially the last guy.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't get it. It must be an East Coast thing. Everybody agreed with me. Huh?
I love when you want to hit people with a baseball bat.
Well, that's our thing here in Jersey.
Yeah,
that's kind of our signature.
Thing, yeah.
That's kind of our signature.
I like it.
So, alrighty, guys, gals. Once again, thanks for hanging out. The next episode is going to be back on Joe's channel. I don't remember what the topic's going to be, though.
I think the next one is my choice, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so I haven't chosen yet. I will by Monday, and I will let the guys know. So
yeah. And then the one after that will be on Walt's channel.
I don't know. I think we might. I gotta pay my dues for a little while. I think we might let it be on those guys for a little bit.
All right. Well, once again, guys and gals, thank you very much. Have a great night, and remember, life's too short to eat bad food.
Yep, that's right.